Welcome, everybody, to this week's Town Update. I am ACMi's News Director, Jeff Barn. I am filling in for our Communications Manager, James Milan, and I'm joined, as always, by our Town Manager, Sandy Puller. Sandy, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Nice to see you.
We have a lot of things to cover here. You're going to have more than a half day today of work. We're going to be going from new staff members here in town to the governor's budget. So right off the bat, let's get on with the governor's budget. What is the latest on that?
The governor's budget just came out this week, and we've done very well here in Arlington. We originally thought we were going to have about a $750,000 increase in state aid. It turns out we're close to almost $3 million in state aid. So we are evaluating that in terms of what that means for the budget for next year. We have a long-range planning committee meeting coming up on Friday, the 10th. We'll be discussing the impact of this on all of our override considerations. I'd say I don't see it having a major change in town or school budgets. There may be some minor adjustments. We're certainly going to have some discussions about what that means for the next override. But I did want to share with the public that it is good news. It comes substantially from an increase in our education aid. And it's because Arlington is one of the few communities in the state that still has rising student enrollment. And that means that we get a bigger share of education aid than a lot of other communities.
That's very good news. That's very good to hear. We have been covering this troublesome intersection at Mass Ave and Appleton. Well, we've been doing some, for lack of a better word, patch up in that area just to update it until we could do something permanent with it. What's the update on the Mass Ave Appleton intersection?
Well, our Department of Planning and Community Development, along with a consultant named Stan Tech, made a presentation to the select board Monday night. So they have put forward some design changes for that whole corridor. They're recommending the installation of a couple of traffic signals, allowing for a dedicated left turn lane on Mass Ave going up to Appleton, and some bike lanes. There are some proposed changes in parking, which are still a subject of a lot of conversation. I would say this is not a final plan. We still want to get feedback from the public. There'll be a session March 15th in Town Hall at 7 p.m. And if you are interested in this intersection or any of the streets along the couple of blocks on either side there, we want to hear from you, and then we will hopefully be putting this all together with a grant from the state that will pay for the whole thing, which makes this a nice project. And so we hope to improve traffic flow, safety, the ability of the kids from Audison to cross the street there and get to the MBTA buses and so forth. A big, exciting project. I'm looking forward to being able to move forward on it later this spring.
Yeah, it's a tricky intersection, and it depends on what time of the day you're at that intersection. It can even get trickier for both pedestrians, motorists, and obviously bicyclists. We are coming up on a new election, April the 1st. A lot of important dates we have to cover prior to that. So if you can update us on that.
So if you're not yet registered to vote, the last day to vote is March 22nd at 5 p.m. If you're already registered, you're fine. But if you're not registered yet, come to Town Hall. March 23rd is a candidates night. It starts at 7:30 p.m. here in Town Hall, and where people will get to meet the candidates and chat with them. And then there'll be formal presentations starting at 8. It is being recorded by ACMi, so you will be able to look at it that way. It's hosted by Envision Arlington and the League of Women Voters. And it's a good way to meet those people who are running for town meeting and for the select board.
Yeah, we have a lot of candidates running this year, and they seem to be, I interviewed a few of them already, and we're going to be interviewing a lot of them prior, obviously, to April the 1st. They're very enthusiastic and very engaged, obviously, and that's the town to do it. There's no doubt about it. All right, we have some changes going on at Robbins Farm Park Playground as well. I told you you'd have more than a half day's work, Sandy.
I know,
Yeah.
things are busy. We have an investment of about $1 million to improve the playgrounds there. Again, more public input. We like that. March 16th, uh, there'll be the third public forum about Robbins Farm. It will be at 6 p.m. on Zoom. And you can go to the town website and to see a link to that. And again, I know a lot of people feel very importantly about these parks and where their kids play and where they hang out. So we invite you to come to the session on the 16th. There will be information on the town website about the plans, and we look to hear from you as to what you think about those.
All right, and it's beautiful there. Obviously, a lot of people have been using it in previous days with the snow, so that's one of the favorite play spots to go to in Arlington, without a doubt. Do you have any updates on the Arlington Reads Together program as well?
Well, this is a great program. We've been doing this for many, many years, where our library picks a book. So this year, it is a book by Judy Heumann, who is a disability rights activist. It is called Being Human, an Unrepentant Memoir of a Disability Rights Activist. So we encourage people to join this. It's being done in conjunction with the Arlington Disability Commission, celebrating their 30th year of doing this. So you can get the book at the library, you can read it together, and discuss it, and I hope learn something from this incredible activist about her work and about a lot of important disability rights issues.
That sounds very, very interesting. I'm hopefully a lot of people will be attending that. We'll try to cover that in the news as well. Tell us about the MBTA Communities Visioning Session as well. A lot of changes, obviously, in recent weeks when it comes to the MBTA.
So the state has put out this program called the MBTA Communities Act, which requires communities that have access to MBTA to change their zoning to allow for multifamily housing to be built as of right. The town would have to adopt this. It would have to be adopted at town meeting, and we are planning to go before town meeting in the fall for this. This is a big project that has a lot of implications. We would need to make the change to our zoning, and we need to designate a part of town that would be what they call an overlay district that would allow for by right multifamily housing. So the kickoff event for this conversation will be March 9th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. It will be via Zoom. It really does kick off an 8-month conversation. So I think if you're interested in housing, in zoning, and also if you're interested in what town meeting passed a few years ago, which was our attempt to ban fossil fuels in new development here in town, our ability to implement that is linked to our willingness or our ability to pass this MBTA zoning. So a lot of issues on the table, a lot of details to be worked out. And so I would encourage people to join the Zoom. Again, that will be listed on the town's website, and details about it under the Department of Planning and Community Development.
A lot of discussions prior to going into the summer in Arlington, without a doubt. You'll be involved in that as always. Yeah. We have some new staff member announcements to make, from what I understand, at the Arlington PD regarding homelessness and other issues surrounding community policing. Tell us about that.
Well, Arlington has been at the forefront of using non-uniformed police officers, in other words, civilians, to engage with the public on any number of issues. And one of those that we've had for a long time is a slot on a homelessness prevention and a homelessness outreach team. So we're very proud to have hired Libby Lazar as our new Homelessness Prevention Community Outreach Coordinator. She will work with the police department's homelessness outreach team, with Somerville Homeless Coalition, and with other human services providers to coordinate services for those who are experiencer or are at risk of homelessness. The specific things she's going to be working on are working on housing stability, domestic violence services, food security, and access to healthcare. So we're very glad to have her on staff. She started in December, or the offer was made to her in December. I think it's an important part of a full spectrum of services that we offer around public safety and trying to reduce and prevent homelessness.
That's great. We're going to be interviewing Ms. Lazar later today for our newscast, so we will welcome her, and it's the great new addition to what is an elite police force here in town. Last question. We lost one of Arlington's prize bald eagles earlier this week, MK. She was taken to the New England Wildlife Center. They did everything they could, hour by hour, trying to save her. She succumbed, I believe it was Tuesday, earlier this week. Before this interview, you were telling me that the town has something planned to educate people about the use of rodenticides. Tell us about that as much as you possibly can.
Our health department is going to put on a session later this spring where we're trying to decide, given the changes in the weather and so forth, when's the right time to do it, for ways that the public can try to control rodents without using the kind of rodenticides that end up in the ecosystem and ended up killing this eagle. There are many ways we can do this. We will have an announcement in the next week or two about when we will have that event. But if you're interested in this issue, I think it's an important issue for the wildlife in town, for our environment, and for the ability of residents, if they do have a problem with rodents, to control them safely. So stay tuned. There'll be more information about that coming soon.
Right. And a lot of wildlife experts statewide have been praising Arlington for being among those municipalities leading the way and trying to get rid of these poisons and pointing out exactly what the ramifications are when it comes to the food chain. All right. Town Manager Sandy Puller, all those announcements, you're going to be a busy guy. So I have to let you go so you can get back to all those discussions and budgets and everything else.
Thank you, Jeff. Pleasure talking to you.
Always a pleasure. Take care, Sandy.